Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Title. This is a rebrand of the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast, and we are so excited to bring this to you. This is your chance to get to know a little more about the podcast, and more importantly, about your hosts. And as you all know, I was the host of the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast, but I am so thrilled to be joined by a new co-host, Jessica Mongue.
Thank you so much, Bobbie. It's a pleasure to be here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jessica Mongue. I recently have joined with Treworgy Baldacci and am so excited to be co-hosting this podcast with you. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to share our expertise and knowledge about the industry with all of you listeners and give you an inside view of what actually goes on in our day-to-day.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to do this, because with the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast, just to give a little bit of background, I started that on my own, separate from Treworgy Baldacci, and I really wanted to do a podcast. What I know best is real estate, so I thought, perfect. And so I stopped doing Maine Real Estate Roundtable. I went into a hiatus and decided that it really is a great tool for our company to get information out there. And anytime I'd be out in the public, I'd have people asking me about the podcast. People I had no idea that listened. It felt really nice because I put a lot of work into it. But that was really sort of me starting to think and my wheels turning that we really should do a Treworgy podcast. I got the blessing from the Treworgys. So Bob and Bobbie were very supportive and excited. And then when I let them know that you were willing to come on board, that just put us over the hump to definitely want to go forward to do this. So what were your thoughts when I asked you to join the podcast and be a co-host?
Well, first, I was honored, obviously. You have been doing this for quite a lot longer than I have, and it just felt really good to have somebody that has been in this industry for as long as you have and as experienced as you are. Ask somebody like me that, is under 10 years tenure. It really felt nice.
I think it's nice because I'm up in the Bangor location, so I'm handling sort of the northern central Maine, up into Aroostook County now. You're down here in southern Maine, so it really gets us all over the state. I do want to mention that we'll be bringing our Portsmouth friends in for episodes because we do have an office down in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But before we go any further, can you tell everybody listening just a little bit more about you and so they can get to know Jess?
Absolutely. So I actually started out in this industry in commercial real estate, and that was about 12 years ago now. I was hired by a small firm in Portland to do some marketing for them and eventually did compliance for them as well. And so, through that process, I got to understand, okay, what a title company actually does. I'd never even heard of a title company prior to that. And I feel like a lot of people that go through this process, they have no clue what we do, that we even handle part of the transaction. I was one of those people. So that was kind of my introduction into the real estate community. I did that for about 4 years. And then I started working for a small title company that was more of a startup type of thing right before COVID hit. So I knew nothing about our industry prior to those years. So unfortunately, I was a little bit jaded from obviously the breadth of so much work and the pace. So it was very interesting to get a look after those years of, what a more normal market looks and feels like in our world. So that's how I got started. Now I'm over, obviously, with you guys at Treworgy. It's been an amazing opportunity for me, and am super, excited to continue to get to grow and learn, because that's one of the things that I actually love about our industry is there's no bar to what type of knowledge and depth that we can go. So many avenues.
Absolutely. See, I'm learning stuff too. As Jess said, she just joined Treworgy, and we've met through the Women in Title group that we both belong to, and have had many conversations, especially as we were gearing up to launch the podcast. I'm going to do a short reintroduction of myself. My name is Bobbie Grenier. I have been in the title industry for over 22 years. All of those years have been with Treworgy and Baldacci. So I am called a Treworgy OG. In that time, I've spent most of my time doing similar to what you do, riding around, doing closings, that sort of thing. And I've sort of shifted around. At present time, I do dabble in the marketing. I really love the education piece to it. And I also do just a lot of admin stuff and title. I do a lot of, the actual stuff in the title department, the title work. So pretty well-rounded. I really want to let everybody know what they're going to be able to expect from behind the title.
People are going to be able to expect to get a real true peek into the day-to-day operations and what we deal with. Again, I think it's such a misconception in the industry of any role in the real estate process. People have this notion that, oh, the realtors only do this, and the lenders only do this, and the title people only do this. But we're here to break some of that, and I think really open folks' eyes about all of the drama that there can be, but also the happy and cool moments that we get to experience in what we do in the day-to-day, and also a little bit more of an explanation of how we partner with every other facet of the industry to get people to the closing table, because there's a lot of work that goes behind it that a lot of times goes unnoticed, I think, to the average consumer.
Well, that's one thing that I really liked about picking a new title, which, I was a little sentimental about letting go of being Real Estate Roundtable, but I really wanted to start off with really everything new. The video piece is new as well. But with behind the title, that's it. We want to let everybody know what's really going on. So Jess and I are not going to come on here scripted and not authentic, hopefully, to you all. We really want to give you value. I think a podcast, or I know a podcast, needs to be listener-centric, listener-centered, so that we're giving value to you. We really want to educate, and we'd love to hear from you. If there are topics like, oh, I've always wondered about whatever, definitely reach out to myself, reach out to Jess, and let us know, because we are here for you. We're here to educate you, to inform you, and there are endless topics, which, you had just said, there are endless topics. So we've already got some great stuff lined up. Do you want to talk about some of the ideas we have for upcoming episodes?
Yeah. First and foremost, you've put so much time and effort into creating a really great outline of episodes coming up that people are going to hopefully really love. Like Bobbie already mentioned, introducing some people from our other offices. We have lots of closing-only locations around the state, but we do have a Portsmouth, New Hampshire office, which I feel like has, maybe a little quieter on the scene. So we're really excited to introduce some of the staff down there. We also are going to be excited to share episodes about topics like wills and estates, transfer on death deeds, things like that, things that maybe necessarily aren't a common topic that agents may hear about all the time, but it's still super important for you to understand what's going on when you run into something like that.
We're going to do a FIRPTA. That's when a seller is not a U.S. citizen, some of the tax consequences or tax considerations that you have to take into account. And I have a lady that owns Total FIRPTA that's already agreed to come on, so we're going to meet with her. We're going to talk also about something that's really interesting, that's relatively new. Is going to be tax titles. And tax titles are not new, but the method in which municipalities sell property is new. And I think that everybody's catching up. So I had a great conversation with Zach Greenfield from Stewart Title. He came in and spoke at our office, and I reached out and I said, hey, this would be great information for everybody. The goal is, I think Jess and I agree, to raise the level, to level up the professionals in the real estate industry, in the title industry. And we do that by learning together.
Correct. It's not about competition, it's about cooperation across the board. We can all work together as an industry to create a better process, to learn from each other, to again raise the bar, to make sure that everybody's giving the best level of service that they can and help each other out. It's a dog-eat-dog industry in a lot of ways, you know?
It certainly can be, but, and I always hear agents say this, there's business for everybody. There's plenty of business for everybody. And when I'm out at events, up in my area, it's probably the same thing for you. I love to see, ladies from different title companies. I've known them for years. I've worked with them for years. So I think that the podcast is going to be helpful to the industry as a whole. We're not gatekeeping. And one of my corny taglines for Maine Real Estate Roundtable was keep it real. And I tried to do that. And I want us to continue that so that it's not just, oh, okay, they're putting on a face for what they want us to hear and what they want us to see. We don't mind getting down in the trenches and sharing with you real stories, real experiences. And I think between the two of us, we probably have quite a few.
Plenty, I'm sure. Absolutely plenty. And I'm looking forward to getting to share that stuff with all of our listeners because, again, there's just so many situations that I'm sure you and I have both been privy to over the years that it's just stuff that you would never think of would happen, could derail a transaction. It has and it will. And it's great to share it. And there'll be plenty of laughs. I'm sure you and I will have some silent tears as we tell some of these stories as well, Bobbie. PTSD from those moments. But it's important to, again, be true and honest about what actually happens because it's not all rainbows and sunshines and kittens in real estate. And if you're in this business, you understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a really interesting and cool business. It's not for the faint of heart. It really isn't. It's a lot of work. As you learned in COVID, we need a whole episode about starting this business in COVID because, as seasoned as I was, it was like, wow, can we keep this up? It was insane. So we could do a whole episode about that. But, we touched on it a little bit. But the other thing that I'm so excited to do is to share the wealth of knowledge within Treworgy. We have attorneys, paralegals. We're going to bring in some marketing, some of our marketing staff, our marketing team. So it's going to be all things from tax titles to putting together an amazing vendors table at an event. We really want to cover it all. And we're so excited to have you along for the journey. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Behind the Title, the official podcast of Treworgy and Baldacci Real Estate Closing Services with your hosts, Bobbie Grenier and Jessica Mongue. Remember, this podcast is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only and not intended as legal advice. Please remember to follow and rate the show and share this episode with a friend.